Alright guys, this is an update to my autumn update. So it's been snowing last night, and this is the first snows of the year. And what I have noticed since my autumn update, the temperature had dropped to below 0 degrees. Like a few mornings I was going to work with -4, and my car does not like freezing temperatures. Well, it turns out it's a snow day today, so I got dressed for nothing, so I'm not going to work today. Snow day is done. Today is the day after, and I got to go to work today. Now, I have done the responsible thing of going out yesterday, gritting the drive, and all of that jazz. Oh, I can hear the precondition happening. So I've done all that lovely stuff yesterday, gritted the drive and got rid of the snow. It's a little bit dark, but we are going to attempt to get the car off the drive this morning. Hopefully it's going to be uneventful and it will be a nice easy one. Let's have a look and see what happens. Top of the morning, everybody. Well, the snow hasn't melted and I've got the car preconditioning at the minute to go and run some errands this morning. So let me show you what we're driving on. This is the road as it stands here right now. That snow has now melted. Well, not melted, it's now been turned to ice. So this is proper treacherous stuff here. That's ice, really slippy stuff. But I've got great news about the car when it comes to the icy condition. Well, great news and not so great news. The vents are open in there, so some lovely air is being sucked in, and I reckon that's preconditioning the battery ready to go. So let's get into the car and let's talk about some other bits and pieces that are happening. Amazing though, amazing. It's super toasty in here. And because I'm sort of leaving later on in the day, the temperature's gone up a little bit, so we're looking at 2.5 degrees, but when I leave in the morning usually it's -4, -5 degrees. So let's see what we're getting. 2.5. That message there is because it's been so cold that the tire pressure has been lowered, so I have to go and sort that out. Now in my autumn update, the temperature was around 4 or 5 degrees. It was still cold, but it wasn't, you know, that bad. But this week it's been murder, absolute murder. So it's been very, very cold. And I was wondering, like, what's gonna happen with my car, how many miles I'm gonna get, what's the efficiency gonna be like, and so on. And I thought, well, we're just gonna die a death on this one because the temperature is so low. So what I have noticed, I've got a friend who lives nearby. He's got a Tesla, he's got a Model S from about 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. And we were comparing notes. So his range has been halved in his Tesla. He's got the long range, and he's explaining to me that what happens is the Tesla keeps the battery warm like all the time, even when you're not using it, you know, to preserve the integrity of the battery. That's what he was explaining to me. I don't know much about Tesla, so that's what he said. And that's that. Whereas I'm not so sure that's happening in my BMW. If you know for sure that that's happening, plunk it in the comments below, because I'm not too sure. What I do know though is that when the temperature dropped below 0, I am still getting about 180 miles on a charge, and then, you know, well, realistically on Boxing Day I'll be heading up to Manchester, but I'm starting from London, so it'll be about 180 miles, and I'll see what my efficiency is like. But when the temperature dropped, my efficiency dropped to about 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, that is still good in my books, I think, anyway. 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. But what I'm noticing, and this is where the maths is going to go a bit ski-whiff, is that even though it dropped to about 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, I am literally wiping out about 10% of my battery just doing short journeys. So when I do the 14-15 mile round trip for dropping my son to school, take myself to work, come back in the afternoon and pick him up, I am losing about 10% of my battery gone on a short journey like that. So the battery really does not like these cold weather. But also what I've noticed is I vaguely get a little bit of more mileage if I precondition. Now there's lots of spin about there as to what's actually happening when you precondition. I am noticing a slight improvement in what the car is predicting when I precondition. You know, I think that it might be warming the battery. Now I've seen places where people are saying no, it's just warming the cabin for you, but I think that there's more. I think there's more happening. I think the battery is getting some level of warmth from preconditioning. Now there's the upside. So I have a friend who's got a beautiful BMW Z3, and she lives where she lives. She lives on a hill, and when the snow came down and wherever, her whole driveway turned into an ice rink, so she can't get in or out. So I've been going to take her, pick her up to drop her off to work, because we work at the same place. However, when I went to pick her up, I realized she's not getting that Z3 out of that yard at all, because, well, it's a Z3, so you know what that means. So I went on there, not fully on the drive, and climbed up that hill. Now that hill looked like my road, like it's just caked in sheet ice. And you know what? This beautiful girl went up and down that hill without sliding at all. And I think I know why. Because when you're dealing, and even because this is the i440, this is the eDrive 40, so I don't really have, you know, not really, I don't have four-wheel drive at all. What I have is a very powerful electric motor and instant torque. And I find that going up and down those hills, I just literally let the weight of the car do the work for me. And I think that's why I was so lucky, because last year I had a crash in my 3 Series. It was conditions just like this, where it was snowing, it turned into sheet ice, and I tried to turn into my street. I think I was doing 10-15 miles an hour, and the car decided that it wasn't going to go where I wanted it to go, and it started sliding along the road, went straight into the curb, bam, busted up the alloys and stuff like that. And that was 2 weeks without the car getting all that put right, and lost my no claims discount, like a whole bunch of stuff, all because I was driving the car in these snowy conditions. That's a conversation for another day. Anyway, but this girl here, she just sits on the ice and just go. And many times I had to do lots of like stop start on icy hills, and she might have skidded a couple of times where the wheel just spun a little bit, but that is it. She just hunkers down and go. And I absolutely love it for that. I thought I was going to be in problems. I thought that this is the end for me. Icy weather, this is my main daily driver. I'm gonna have to jump into my wife's Yaris because this car isn't gonna make it. But no, I can tell you now categorically from my experience, she is a gem, like gem, you know, on the ice. Not a problem at all. Obviously be sensible. So like, for example, you have to change your driving habits. So when I want to stop anywhere on ice, do not under any circumstances, and especially if you're on a hill where I live, don't put your foot on the brakes. That's just dumb, okay? Because that just locks up the front wheel, and then you are not in control when your car is skidding. End of discussion on that one. Okay, so what I have been doing to stop and go is just use the B mode. I just put it in B mode and let the car stop using regenerative braking. And what I find is that the car is coming to a stop. Obviously predict, if you know you're going to be stopping in how many meters, you know how to come off the pedal to slow the car down enough to stop safely. And that's what I've been doing. So when I needed to stop, it's just a matter of start coming off the acceleration pedal and let the car slow down and even come to a complete stop. And every single time I have done that, she stopped without skidding at all, you know. So and it might be a little bit of you know, magic happening with the traction control as well. I don't know, and quite frankly I don't care, but all I know for sure is I'm able to use my car in this weather safely without having any problems at all. She is just a beauty. A risky one all for you guys. So I'm coming down a bit of an icy road to make my point. I'm going to stick the camera outside so you can see what the wheels are doing. So that's the shot of the back wheels rolling along. Icy conditions, you can hear the ice crunching underneath there. And so what we'll do is we'll drive along here just a little bit. I'm just going to go really slow. That's the front there. So the car has no problem at all dealing with these icy conditions. I'm rolling along. Okay, so I've got some nice tarmac here. Well, not tarmac, concrete. But I'm gonna just drive a little bit more just to show you like what we get. Let's make sure that we're nice and safe. And I'm not using my friction brakes at all to stop. I am literally just poodling along, minding my own business, and she will just go and stop. So I'm gonna go on ice now, come off the gas or the accelerator, and she stops. No problem, no skids, no drama. All right, that's basically it. It's magic. It's like voodoo. I left home with about 215 miles on the clock. I've used 3% and I've got more mileage, and it's still sitting on 2.5 degrees. Don't you just love an EV? It's beautiful. Okay, so here's what I mean about the consumption. So I've been driving for a short time. Even though it says 40 minutes, that's because once the car starts preconditioning, for some reason it starts the timer. I don't know why it does that, but anyway. And just for this journey, that I was on, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. I guess that is what explains why I started with like 215, 16 miles, and now it's going up rather than going down. But here is the difference. I have only been driving today for 9.2 miles and I've lost 4% of my battery. That is how high the consumption is when you got the AC on, and obviously I got my seat heating on, I've got my heating steering wheel on. When you're bobbing about and you're doing bits and pieces, it does use a lot of juice, especially in this kind of weather, but I still think I'm getting a lot. So that is the update of the update. So in summary, your battery power is your efficiency is going to go through the floor, but that is the same for all EVs anyway, so there's nothing new there. I am still quite happy that in sub-zero temperatures I am still getting close to 200 miles. So she is doing a beautiful job for me. Absolutely love it. And so in summary, while your efficiency goes down, you still enjoy a beautiful drive in the car, and she is lovely in this snowy weather. I don't know how the car does it. That rear camera is mucky as hell, but look at the picture that you're getting from it. Anyway, let's do the numbers and then I'll give you my concluding thoughts. So values at the start of this journey. So I've driven 17 miles and the usage have come down to 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That's because I've just come home and rolling up my hills. It's used almost 10% of the battery to do 17 miles, but it's still showing me that I can do 207 miles. So there's something to be understood here. And that main thing to be understood is that the way the battery is used, it's not linear. So, because if it was linear, if it's telling me about 17 miles for 10%, then I should only be getting 170 miles out of this. But when you then look at what the car is telling me it can actually do, like in today's conditions, 2.5 degrees Celsius, it's still telling me it can do 207 miles. So as you drive out the road conditions change, the temperature changes from place to place. At some points today I was seeing 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and so on, and my bobbing around town and so on. So, you know, it's not really linear. It's all dependent on how you use it. But if you take it from an average point of view, then you can almost say, from what I've been saying so far in this video, with sub-zero temperatures I'm getting about 180. But I'm sure if I decide to go on a bit of a steady journey somewhere where I'm just not going stop start, I'll pretty much be getting about 220 miles, I think, in today's temperature and on the like really good driving conditions. So that's it, guys. She's still a beauty. She still does me well. Electricity is a bit expensive at the minute, but I'm charging at home, where it's like much better, and it's much better for the battery. So and once I charge at home, I just put some extra money on my British Gas app to make sure that I don't have any nasty surprises in January or March, I think, whenever the next bill comes out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and thanks for everything that you guys continuously do, supporting me on the channel, you know, just with your kind comments and so on. Keep it up. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.